Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Texas Young Guns. I am here sitting in our truck that we call Silver Fox. He is a 2015 Ford F-250, and we are quite frankly tired of the old radio that's in there, not because it doesn't work, but because you don't get any of the modern conveniences of new vehicles like Apple CarPlay, the better navigation, the better interface, and all that stuff. So there's nothing wrong with this truck. We love it. Have no plans on getting rid of it. Certainly not going to pay the prices of diesel trucks that are out there right now. So we're going to stick with this truck, but we're going to do a little upgrade and upgrade the radio from Sync 2 to Sync 3. I think it's 3.4, which is like the newest Sync 3. So it's going to give us Apple CarPlay. It'll give us all the modern conveniences of newer cars. So it's not that hard, but I figured while I'm doing it, I'll walk you through it. So without further ado, let's go. So first thing that you're going to want to go grab is a 7mm socket. You can either use a drill like this, or you can even use like a hand driver, either way. And you're also going to need a set of Torx bits. They're in there somewhere, because you're going to need it to take the bracket off of the old radio. Now make sure when you're buying your radio that it's from a decent dealer or person online. So I'm part of the like the Ford Super Duty forums on Facebook. There's a guy on there that's constantly helping people out. His name is, oh gosh, it's like Mitral Shaw, something like that. Anyways, everybody has praised him on the forum, so I already knew he was legit. Just be careful, there's a lot of fake radios out there. So assuming you have a real one, let's start at step 1. Now we're gonna knock out the top part first. This is the easiest part. All of it's really easy. But this little like kind of useless cubby that I never really knew what to use. Hey look, here's my Texas State Parks pass. Looking for that. Anyways, we're going to remove this guy. Now if you can get this front cover off, it'll make your life a lot easier, because then you can get to the little clips behind there. Also, you're probably going to want some kind of pry tool. I don't have those, so I have like screwdrivers and stuff, and that's what I'll be working with. I'll try to be careful not to damage the plastic, but if you have those like plastic pry tools, that's what you want to use here. Yeah, so check it out. This little piece right here popped off really easy. We won't need that anymore, and so now we have access to this inner part. Now mine actually has the card for the navigation. My truck comes with navigation. When you buy the new radio, you have the option of getting navigation or not. Really, it kind of depends on you. A lot of people, all they'll use is, you know, their phone. So if you see there, all I did was pry this little flippy thing right here, and it let it all out. You're gonna want to pull this out all the way to where you can get to the connections on the back side, so you can undo those, because you will need these connections. Here's a USB plug that you're gonna need. Here is the part number for it. Then you have the bezel that's gonna go around those, and here is the part number for it. Now you're also gonna need this pigtail to convert the cables in the back going to that USB to the new USB. And here is the part number for it. Alright, the pigtail has been connected. You will also need this GPS. If you got the nav version, there's no part number on there. All I see is GP06, but I'm sure a quick Amazon search, you'll pull it up. And everything's connected back there, so we'll tuck all these cables back in. And there you go. That's where you will plug in your Android or iPhone to make CarPlay work. Alright, next we're going to be popping off this piece here and this piece over here. Like I said, this is kind of where you want to use a pry tool, not a screwdriver, but it can be done. You just got to be really careful with the screwdriver, not to tear your fake wood grain up. And there you go, just pops out just like that. Now you don't need to completely unhook it. You just kind of need it to dangle like that, and we'll do the same thing for the other side. Now when you have these open up, you're going to expose 4 bolts, 2 on either side. They're 7mm. You'll need to undo those to get the front radio off. Alright, once you get those loose, you just kind of grab up here and you loosen it up, and this whole front bezel will fall down. And once again, you don't need to disconnect anything. Just kind of lay it down out of the way. Once you have the bezel off, you'll be exposed to the 6 bolts holding the radio in. Loosen them all up and take the radio out and disconnect it. And once you make it this far, you should be able to pull out the radio. If you let it dangle, you'll need to undo the connections. Here, I'll get a better light in there for you. Undo these connections in the back. On this first connection to the left, you see the gray handle there. You'll pull it to the right. You'll push it to the right. Should unlock that clip. And then the right one, you just squeeze the little prong there and it should come right out. Easy peasy. As you can see, this is the old radio out of the truck. Don't need this anymore. Probably going on eBay. Now the GPS is magnetized. As you can see, it wants to stick. There's a nice bracket deep back there. You kind of can push it to, and it works really well. Since it's metal, it makes mounting it very easy. And then with the cabling, you don't really want to push it deep back there, but you do kind of want to keep it in a roll and push it towards the back. And of course, make sure the connection stays. Before I forget, you can see the original on the right has the mounting brackets. You'll need to transfer those in the same mounting locations onto the new radio before you put the new radio in. As you can see, all the connections have been remade to the new screen. It's the opposite direction. You just put it in and slide the gray bar all the way over till it locks in place. The black cable, well, there's 2 connections on the back of the radio, like a light gray or white, and then like a dark gray or black. It'll go into the darker one, the black one. And then on the right, up here on top is where your GPS is. The locking mechanism is actually on the bottom side, so just make sure you have the right orientation there. And then of course you can move the GPS cable as you need it. And like I told you earlier, it's going to be tucked in like that. So now it's time to put the radio back in and screw it back into place. And then putting it back, you just do the same steps backwards. So you'll want to bring this back towards the bottom. And don't forget about the screws on each side over here. Put those back in. And there you go, guys. So I noticed that my GPS isn't updating to where I am, but I'm sure that takes a little bit for the GPS to get satellites and all that kind of stuff. Need to drive around. But man, this looks a lot fancier than the old one. All of your audio stuff has been saved. So all your favorites, your climate controls are still up here. This will look a little bit more modern. When you hook up your phone and all that, you can have those features. And of course, the one I got, there it goes, it updated it. You know, it comes with the maps. I went ahead and got the nav. You can add apps to this. Since you're on the newer Ford radio, you can add apps. And then of course there's all kinds of settings to go through. But big upgrade for you guys that have the older radio, the Sync 2 radio. I highly recommend this upgrade. The price I got was at $650 without the nav. You add the nav, it's an extra $100. I do plan on using Apple CarPlay, but sometimes it's nice to not have to use your phone when you're driving down the road. So anyways, so here is the radio functioning in the truck. If you go over here to Apple CarPlay, you can use all the Apple CarPlay features. I don't know how well y'all can see that. There we go, now you can see it. There you go, so it's Apple CarPlay. You can, all the typical CarPlay stuff you see in modern cars, you can do now with your new radio. Like I like to use Waze, I like to call people, Spotify, etc. So whatever you like doing on Apple CarPlay, you can now do in your truck. And if you're ready to go back to the Ford apps, you just come over here to where it says Ford, and here's all your Ford apps. Well guys, I hope this video was helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next one. See you next week. Bye.